Welcome back to the Empower podcast. Today, Alke and myself are joined again with Casa Real. So we have Richard, CEO of Casa Real, and Marie-Odile, Director of Partnerships at Casa Real. And we're connecting again to provide an on-the-ground update. And it's a pretty big update relating to the... so we have 4 Project Catalyst funded homes, but 2 of them have been built by Casa Real. So we're going to be focusing on those 2 eco homes in this podcast. Yeah, so let's probably dive straight into the first question. So Alke, you got the first question to start us off?
Yeah, Marie-Odile, can I ask a question to you? So we came last summer when we had the opportunity to work together with Casa Real by the provided funding through the Catalyst proposal. And we came to you and we asked you, would it be possible to build within the frame of as environmental friendly and locally possible homes in Mozambique that are still affordable? And I'm wondering, what happened then? What did Casa Real do with the objectives that we asked you? So the more or less general framework to.
Yes, thank you, Alke. Well, it was very interesting to get that question because already delivering affordable housing is a challenge in Mozambique, one of the poorest countries in the world. So we hadn't been asked before as a company to also, we were at times asked to consider it, but to be honest, to consider environmental measures, we'd always thought it would be too expensive for our clients. But as Empower is a very pragmatic organization, I actually asked the question, what could you do? What could you do locally? So we sat together as a team last summer and really thought through what could we change to our current housing product that we offer to the market that is really popular locally? What could we add to that in terms of environmental measures that would still make it affordable to our clients, that we know will be in line with what they want because they like that type of house, and that will make a dent in terms of environmental efficiencies. And when we went through that exercise, we realized we could actually do quite a lot with simple and affordable measures. And I'll leave it to Richard to explain how we implemented that.
Yeah, and also maybe before I go into the details, hi everyone. It was a pleasure not changing, but adding to our concept that actually we go greening. We add some green features on what people knew, what people are used to, so as we go to eco construction or eco building, we really wanted to start with what people know, and we started with our conventional construction technology, where we added more eco features that then we achieve the green building construction. I will take you to what we have done to date. To date, we completed these 2 units before yesterday, that was Tuesday, and they are habitable now. We have added all the features that were remaining. So to say, we added solar energy, solar panels on each of the houses, and we have each house is going to have a tank, a rainwater harvesting tank. And the greatest thing that these houses have that others before didn't have is a water treatment plant. The water treatment plant is not only going to help us to deal with the individual septic tank, but it's going to help us to actually treat the reused water, the wastewater, and then we reuse water during the summer. For example, like now there's a great problem at the site that we have no water. We have to now start using water for irrigating the compounds, using the drinking water. So during the summer, actually, this is going to be one of the first innovative things that we have done. Really proud of that. We added a wastewater treatment plant that then the water that we will treat will be reused either for flushing toilets or for irrigating the compound. We have 2 units that we constructed. After designing, we looked at, okay, so we are looking at affordable units, but let's try 2 units at the start. And we have one basic unit, which is 1 bedroom, the kitchen and the kitchen and the bathroom toilet normally. And then we have 2 bedroom, two rooms, sitting room, kitchen, and bathroom. Each and every house now is lit with solar system, and we are now, I will be talking about what we have done on now integrating, looking for clients. We have already a small shortlist that we are looking at, which I will talk about.
So now that the houses are built, Richard and Marie-Odile, can you tell us a little bit about the journey to come to the houses and you know, the challenges and the opportunities that you had?
Yeah, so to come to the journey where we started from and where we have reached to having completed units, usually it was not a big challenge for us as Casa Real, because as I said, we wanted to start with what we knew, only that we needed to add some of the features that would make the house eco-friendly. So we started with the construction, normal construction, the foundation, brick and mortar blocks and cement and iron bars and all those building materials that make conventional construction. So we did the normal construction, and that was a month and a half ago, 2 months that it took. What delayed us a bit was the treatment plant, because we needed, it's the first time Casa Real is doing the treatment plant, but of course our technical director, Andrew McLean, who lives in UK, came down to help us. And when he came down, he had to integrate the training, the techniques to train the local team. And then we started on it. So we focused much on what we don't know actually to first do. So we did that on alongside the construction. And then we completed the treatment plant. And once the treatment plant was completed, Andrew moved back, traveled back to the UK. And that's when we then went back to focus on completing the eco homes. And then we did the painting and added the eco features, the solar panels, among the solar panels, the rainwater harvesting, and then connecting to the sewage treatment plant. The solar system was purchased, but then we waited to complete the whole house, such that then we installed. That should have been the last thing. And then that was done finally. And now we have light in the house. I can't say there are challenges, but there are lessons learned. I like using that. We've learned that it's not as cheap as the one we've been building and selling. For example, best unit, we were selling it at $10,000 home, but then we have added some little cost on construction, especially sharing to the septic tank, the treatment plant. Before it was individual septic tank, but now it's going to be a treatment plant. A treatment plant is not specifically for the 2 units I'm talking about, but we are going to connect the 10 units. So there are additional 8 units in the same line that are going to be connected to the treatment plant. So that then the cost is shared to all other houses, not only the 2 units that the construction cost is shared. So with that, then the cost goes down.
Richard, if I may add also, you talk about the construction cost, but if you look at the clients, you know, the monthly cost for utilities for them, together with these solar panels and other measures we've made to make the house more energy efficient and have it heat up less. Yeah, the monthly billing cost for the clients will go down. So you need to look at the whole life cycle also of the house, obviously.
Yeah, and also during the rainy season, so like those who have been paying money on water bills, and the water bills go down for the whole season. The rain it is raining. They are collecting water among others, so it becomes a life, an ecosystem of all affordability to the client.
And to be clear, the wastewater treatment plant that Richard is referring to, this is not a mechanical plant. It's a completely natural plant which includes one of these reed beds with local reeds that will help clean the water. It's the first, not only in Beira, I believe, but also in Mozambique even, Richard?
Yeah.
That's remarkable, but that's also going to save a lot in maintenance, right? So it's maintaining itself, isn't it? Then this wastewater treatment.
Yeah, sure. Also to say, different from the treatment plant, now from the septic tank that was individual septic tank, and now like each house is contributing something like maybe 30% of the original cost of the septic tank, and this one goes to a big septic tank, a big treatment plant that then, other than like at use when the client would empty it every year, maybe this will take 2 years before it is emptied. And so that is also another saving that the person is using. And of course, as Casa Real, to us, it's an innovation that actually gives us more points in even the city, because when the mayor came and saw what we were doing, and he was so surprised to see, and this time he didn't say, he said, little Casa Real is doing something that the government can't do. And like we were joking, and he was saying that, you know what, we are going to use this in the Byros. Byros, they're like the zones where they do not have any connection to the sewage plant. And they were saying they have one big treatment plant, which the Portuguese did long time and during the colonial times. But since that time, they have never tried to build their own. So they say this is really an innovation that we can easily do it in different zones. So to us, we keep feeling great to hear that the government is so much getting interested in what Casa Real is doing.
I love that story. Like the fact that the mayor's come here and has been really inspired through this innovation, this water treatment plant, and he's actually looking at maybe replicating this in other areas of Mozambique. Is that what you're saying, potentially?
In Beira.
But even that in itself is like a massive achievement. And I think a lot of the things that we are trying to do is create some sort of a ripple effect. So we do something positive, innovate in some area, and then it's not an isolated action, then that kind of leads on to other positive things down the track. And I think that's just one example. Another example I remember hearing earlier on was when we started looking at integrating EDGE certification into this as some way to, I guess, have some sort of sustainability score. That generally started a conversation in Beira as well. Am I right, Marie-Odile? And even that idea of starting a conversation it's hard to quantify that impact, but inevitably that would lead to some good things, like down the track as well. Can you maybe speak to the EDGE certification and how that ties into this?
Yeah, it always helps if there's a yardstick that can measure how far you are on the journey. And of course, ultimately, you want to have houses that are as green as possible, that don't have any negative impact. But yeah, in reality, that's a stepwise journey, because our clients are used to a certain it's a very low trust society we work in. We've managed to create a lot of trust with our clients. And unfortunately, it means that you have to bear with traditional building methodologies for a while until that trust can expand to other areas. So there is this yardstick that you refer to already, that's EDGE. It's developed by IFC, the International Finance Corporation, part of the World Bank Group. And EDGE, it's actually called Excellence in Design for Greater Efficiencies. And it's a whole detailed approach which actually has 3 categories to inspire and promote joining the journey to greater efficiency with regards for the building industry. It's especially also targeted at actors in emerging economies. And in Mozambique, to also set the context here, in Mozambique, there is till date not one building. So I'm not even talking about low cost housing, but there's not one building EDGE certified. So that is that. So everything. So environmental issues are even not considered by the most because it's such a poor country. So why bother? So it's rather the most important actually locally is climate resilience, because Mozambique is more and more impacted by climate change. You know, the horrific cyclones we've had as a country. When we put the data of our the measures we're putting into the eco homes we're developing now, we were actually quite excited that on that yardstick there's 3 levels. There's the highest achievable level, that's CO2 zero, obviously. Then there is the first level, which is 20% more efficiency, so less use of energy, water, and materials than the standard in the country. And then there's the second level. So actually in between the CO2 zero and 20% improvement, there is 40% improvement in resources, energy, and water and materials. And we were happy. We assumed you would reach the first level with the measures we were planning to implement, but we were quite excited that we would meet the second level already. We've now just, as Richard shared, completed implementation, and the next step is now to file for certification. So within the next few months, we hope to have that completed. And then it's going to be interesting that the first buildings to be certified as under the EDGE certification will be these affordable homes funded by Empower through Catalyst in Beira. So it's going to be a nice achievement. Yeah,
that's so cool.
And
so just
Marie-Odile, that's the EDGE Advanced.
EDGE Advanced, second level, second out of 3.
EDGE Advanced.
But this is such an exciting journey, isn't it? To do this together. You know, it really makes me, at least, very elevated.
Yeah. And what's interesting also, because we've been around with Casa Real for a couple of years, and I myself have worked in a sector for 20 years. And what I found so interesting of this journey is that, the Catalyst funding was for the total 4 homes, $60,000, if I'm correct. What you can do with that amount of money, with most centralized organizations, it's challenging to push that amount onto the field, to manage that, the whole bureaucracy around it. But not only can Empower move those volumes around quite at that level, with most organizations active in this field, it needs to be a couple of $100,000 dollars or euros before it's worth sending it into a project, and it takes months before decisions are made. But our experience is with Empower is, decisions. We put our proposition for the eco homes, I think, up in August. A week later it was approved, and where usually also with the financial, the traditional banking infrastructure, then it takes quite a bit of time before money goes from one side of the world to the other side. Richard, we've had quite a bit of experience.
We have had quite bad experiences in previous projects where we, like, after registering, after getting the approval, there is financing gain come from Europe to Africa, but that would even take. There is one project that we had 7 months just to get money into the country. Yeah. 7 months after, excluding the process of the approval of the project and the process of dealing with local banks. It took 7 months. So we added like
build a business. In
fact, the project we built the project of 30 houses, but in 3 months. But to get money for that took 7 months to get the banks accept to register the project, and the banks receive the money and then deposit money on our account. So when I saw like this system, I always told Marie-Odile, I said, maybe we might have a solution for future projects. Like, this is the time where we would have completed projects and built other projects, but 7 months just to get money is ridiculous.
Yeah, so here it was the opposite, actually. Because it's peer-to-peer, and the tools from the Empower platform allowed us a very efficient transfer. It's immediate. So
yes, 7 months seems crazy. Like, it's anyone in the crypto space, especially younger people, younger than myself. I don't know if I fall into that category anymore, but the younger people.
For us, we do.
7 months to kind of process a financial transaction is just doesn't even seem like that's a possibility. It seems like something back in when the dinosaurs were roaming around. It's
exactly.
So it's even solving that problem through crypto decentralized finance, RealFi. That is huge. That is huge. And another thing you mentioned, Marie-Odile, with what you can do with that money, but also how quick that turnaround is. Like, to build these homes in a couple of months, that in itself is great. Like, and here in Australia, that's
we can do it even faster because this is the pilot. I mean, and also currently our production team is at base level, but I'm looking as far as I can here at Richard. I mean, you're rearing to go. The local issues, which are perceived internationally to be the issues, poverty, low income, and therefore low income clients, probably also low capacity of all sorts in the country in terms of experience of this kind of building and such. Those are not the issue. Those are for Casa Real not the issue. Yeah. The issue is getting affordable and predictable financing available. And
to us, actually, that's a good observation, Marie-Odile, that most people out there, they think, okay, these guys are poor, these guys will not have building materials. I have had many people ask me, but so tell me, are you able to get building materials locally? I say, I'm not importing. The things which are imported, yes, are imported, very few of them, like iron bars, but also not from far. Like, we get materials from neighboring countries like South Africa, like Zambia. So things to do with like labor, our construction team is a good one that we have trained, that we have got other people from outside, they have trained them, and those things we could do them. And when they say like people are poor, will they be able to pay? The problem is not that they are not able to pay. The problem is actually the structures around them, like the banks I was talking about. 600 mortgages, Marie-Odile normally say, and then we laugh, and like, it becomes a laughable stuff that, in the whole country, you have 600 mortgages. Andrew used to say this is his community. Yesterday, I was talking to one banker, and he was telling me, to us, as me as an individual, everybody, like you bring, we send them a list of clients to give mortgages, but they end up not giving not even one or two. He says, you and me, we know that these people can pay every month because they are getting monthly salary, they are paying rent, they are paying A, B, C, D, they are even getting loan cars because that's what they can access. But I mean, they can't access the mortgage for housing and their interest rate is like ridiculous. So it's
20% plus. Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
things around them that really complicate their situations of buying houses.
That's the next innovation to bring in this partnership to the field in Mozambique, in Beira, lease to buy. So that's a whole different discussion. But as you can see from Richard's energy, innovation is needed there, and we have solutions.
What I hear very clearly is that if you take away the administrative and the financial burden, there are many clients that can afford a house, right?
Absolutely.
Plus, if you do it through the blockchain, you can also leave the trust, because what I love that story about, this sharing with the, and the municipality coming over and seeing what can be done through a sort of a community-based treatment plant. So how many people were trained by one person giving one training, and then you start a whole new movement, around solving another local problem in the municipality. How many people were trained? Richard, can you tell a little bit about it? So it's a sort of a trickle-down effect?
Yeah, I mean, if it's like Casa Real, it's in one house, in one community that we are building. But if it's not only that, but looking at what that would mean to also other communities around us, it wouldn't be a competition. I can't say it would be that actually is coming from Casa Real, from Casa Real's networks, from Casa Real's partners like Empower is funding us, and then is influencing the good things in one community, and then providing lessons that the municipality can learn to go and replicate and help also others. Because I mean, if they had a treatment plant, the problem with sanitation, water and sanitation in Beira is a big one, because every time it rains, actually these communities are impassable. So it floods everywhere in those zones, in those boroughs. So you don't need to think about what happens with sanitation, like septic tanks, because I mean, if they are full different individual septic tanks, it's so when kids are walking and like they have to remove their shoes, they have to fold their shorts, and then they have to hold their skirts upward so that they can walk through the flood to go to school, to go to get some food stuff.
Yeah.
You don't want
very dirty water.
So if you have like such kind of technologies that will then join these community boroughs as decentralized treatment plants, it's a great one. I mean, this can help not only that they learned, but they can help to ensure there is good sanitation in these communities.
To answer specifically also to your question, I think there were around 10-ish people trained by Andrew, isn't it, Richard? 10-ish people, our construction crew of the moment that were trained?
Those who were trained were 25.
Oh, 25, even more. Yeah. And to get back to the other point also you made, Alke, and also to put a number of the financial challenge, no one could, well, almost no one in the world would get a mortgage when it's 25% to buy a house. So that's not an issue of our clients. That's really the messed up system, financial system in countries like Mozambique, where there's such, you pay for 5 houses. And the interesting thing of the blockchain also, that it gives a different way to build up trust. So it's not to put away with bureaucracies, but making it a more efficient one, because the current system clearly don't work.
Yeah, I think that's it's very interesting. The blockchain does provide a huge opportunity because you can now trust upon the reliability, not only reliability, but also the capability of especially of local partners like Casa Real. And then you can see what comes out of that, which is, I think, 2, maybe 3 times even bigger, you know, when it comes to the impact that it's making. Because now you have 25 people that are trained locally. You have a municipality that's looking at different additional efforts. You have houses that have access to piped water done in a more environmental friendly way. So it's like it's sort of a butterfly effect, I would call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the next phase coming from the building of these houses?
And let's not forget solar also. That's a very
Yes.
important measure
Yeah.
we've put in.
Our next phase for this, maybe I would call it the closing phase for this pilot. We did this not only to have the clients buy them, otherwise it would not be a fancy thing to talk about, but we did this to test many things, test the clients themselves. The clients have been coming and we keep bringing them to get also their feedback. And then we test the supply chain. We added some features like solar. Now we have one partner who is supplying us solar, it's called SolarWorks. So we need to look at the supply chain of these eco features. And of course, we age advanced, as Marie-Odile was talking about. This will be a closing chapter to look at, start doing age advanced and more others. But the most important thing for this pilot would be to close down using the tests. Then we talk to the clients. Now we had a list that when during the construction, we were talking to some people for these 2 units. We have closed to now 4 people. We still have a challenge to take out 2. We have 3 ladies and 1 male.
We have to build more. We have to build more.
So either we have to build more or we have to take out other 2. But for the moment, then they are shortlisted for those units. We are left with visiting their homes where they are living now, because it is part of the assessment that we go and make sure that we see the housing before. So then we have the baseline and decision to make. But then once they are selected, they will now come and start living in the house. We decided to try them on rent to buy because it's not a new thing. We have already done a lot of tests with the conventional technology, so it's not new. It's going to be different from the other carbon zero that we will be talking about in the future. But at the moment, at least rent to buy that we are preparing and also talking to Empower will be a great thing that to see also with the solar, with the eco housing that we can scale up the rent to buy model.
Yeah.
So possibly, let's say in January, we will be having the final selection.
Yeah, and they move in. So in a nutshell, this was a test. So far, it's been positive. The refining of the design will happen when we get clients feedback from clients who have actually moved in. And I would say sometime in Q1 that will have been finalized, you know, how it feels actually to live to get the feedback of how it feels in such a home. And we're ready to scale. The clients are there. The eco homes offering is there, which is every time we're looking at ways on how to improve it even further. Because one big challenge we still have is we build with concrete, because that's with the building materials we have available locally, that's truly the only realistic option to build our blocks with. And that's also the most acceptable culturally technology. But now that we have a lot of trust with our clients locally, we are experimenting also, or on the lookout for ways of more environmentally friendly types of construction to potentially replace the blocks or make the blocks in a more efficient and a more eco-friendly way. That's still a big bridge to cross, but already now, as we reach edge level 2 out of 3, it's not bad. And on that basis, we're ready to proceed.
Plus, I can imagine that as because you've been working so much on the affordability of the homes, is that you don't have as much waste as an average big developer would be having, right? A big constructor building huge amounts of houses all at once, centrally done.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the layout of our buildings, we built in an incremental way, so people can, as our sales line is locally, is a house that fits every pocket. Whether it's one room with kitchen and bathroom or bigger than that, which clients can then increment as soon as they have more resources for that. So compared to the standard in the country, and then the official building standard, which is more for the elite, we show also to the communities that you don't have to live in villas. That shouldn't be your aspiration, but you can have a nice home. And the smallest home we have is 26 square meters, and that's very well livable too. So that's already more. Not only do we have less waste, but already in constructing, it's built very efficiently.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, also that one of the basic units funded by Empower is, I say, 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms. So it's 1 bedroom, but then it has space that is also constructed for incrementing to 2 bedrooms. So literally the person is going to acquire a 1 bedroom, but this 1 bedroom in future she has funding, then she can only extend the walls to make a 2 bedroom house. So we designed, and when we were starting this project, we got all the designs approved. So they don't need to go back to the municipality to get the approvals for incrementing to 2 or 3 bedrooms. So we got the 3 bedrooms approved already, but incremented over a certain period of time that the buyers would wish. So it helps us that once we are selling, we sell to different people. Someone's aspiration, as Marie-Odile was saying, is 3 bedroom, but at the moment cannot afford 3 bedrooms, so can buy 1 bedroom, but on an incremented plot that can go to 3 bedroom. So with time, add one other rooms until you get your dream home.
That's really smart. Also, I understood, Richard, but maybe you can tell a little bit about that, is that this is really the way it's also done historically or culturally acceptable to
yes. So
build incrementally.
Exactly. When we were starting the project, we did a survey, and that's one of the key things that we found in the building methodology that was done locally, because people don't normally have money at the same time. They would start with 1 room and they go to 2 to 3 bedrooms. As it was being done incrementally, but poorly. So in a disorganized way. So then for us, because it is within the same place, planned with good roads, with electricity and water, then it becomes a very vast and organized way to do that.
I love it. I think that probably brings us to the end of the podcast. Unless there's anything else that we want to discuss, I think we probably touched a lot of the bases. But yeah, I think it brings us to the end. So thanks everyone for listening. We'll include any relevant links below where people can click on them and connect with us and join our journeys. And this has obviously got a be continued conversation. We'll connect again in the near future next year to have another conversation. So we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks, Richard and Marie-Odile, for your time. You know, it's been really splendid to learn from you guys and to see what you've achieved so far. So
Thank you.
Let's move on in this journey, and looking forward to speaking to you again very soon. Bye-bye.